Hey guys, TGKS Productions. For this GT Live video, I have a buy customization review for the Emperor Vectre. This is the most recent vehicle added to GT Online for the Los Santos Tuners DLC. So first off, as always, we're going to head and buy or purchase this vehicle. It can be purchased from Legendary Motorsports. And unfortunately, I didn't have the trade price, as you can see here. So we're just going to outright purchase it. Spend a little bit more than the trade price, but nonetheless, let's get this vehicle. So the caption reads here, too extra for the classics, more over the top than underground. Forget trying to find that scrapyard bucket and make the only first impression that counts in the Emperor Vectre, like a supermodel with a mean 100-meter sprint. This is the kind of narcissism that'll ride you till you're raw and leave you with nothing but gratitude. Okay, there you go. You can see we don't have the trade price again. Trade prices are given every 5 levels, reputation levels in the Ellis car meet, and it's randomized. Let's go ahead and purchase this vehicle anyways. So we just got the Emperor Vectre delivered to our auto shop property here, and we'll get a first look at it in the property. We'll take it outside to get a better look. But this vehicle seems predominantly based off the Lexus RCF. Now, there's a handful of these models dating all the way back to like 2014 and 15, so I'm not exactly sure what Lexus RCF it's based off of. I would say more so the newest one, the 2021. That's just my opinion, but let's go ahead and listen to the engine startup. So I decided to pull the Emperor Spectre to this parking lot near my auto shop property. Fortunately, it was raining in GT Line when I was looking at this vehicle. It's not the best day. You also notice it says low grip tires, and those can be applied at the Ellis car meet in the mod shop, and that is under tire enhancements. So that's if you wanted to apply those. Let's go ahead and open up all the remote functions on this vehicle: doors, trunk, hood. Take a look at the entirety of the vehicle, and we have a nice look at the engine here, so great for car meets. We have a look at the interior. I like how you can see the back seats there. Really unfortunate that we couldn't actually have it be a 4-seater, even though there's not a fourth or 2 back doors. Got the trunk there, and the other side of the car, I believe we have the Emperor symbol in the middle or in the steering wheel there. We'll take a look at the interior as well. It's a very nice interior, as you'll see here. Seats, I don't know if those seats are unique or not. They kind of stood out to me, but they could be in another car there that we have in GT Online. I know that the like the speedometer and the dials there, that I believe those are in some other vehicles in GT Online. Overall, the interior isn't super unique. I like how we have the Emperor logo there. What is cool is and there's also the headlights. Not really super cool about the headlights when turning on the high beams, and I'll show you the brake lights and the backup lights as well. What is cool though is this is the 3rd Emperor to be added to GT Online. We had one on day 1, I believe the Habanero, and then also we have the ETR1, which was added 4 years ago in the Cunning Stunts DLC. So it's finally cool that we got a new Emperor vehicle after 4 years. Let's go ahead and check out the customization for this vehicle. Just go ahead and check out the customization for the Emperor Vectre. You can see there it's in the sports car class. So besides being the sports class, it's also sort of in its own tuners class, even though it's not a direct class in GT Online. It can be raced with the other tuner vehicles in GT Online in the Street Race series, as well as in the Pursuit series. And I won't talk for all the customization. I'll sort of just commentate here on there and certain things that I found interesting, maybe certain points or certain parts of customization I want to point out. And then other than that, I'll let you guys check out the customization if you so choose, and I'll tune in here and there, commentate. So some engine block upgrades as well as some rail cover upgrades, strut bars. Definitely make your engine look pretty interesting for car meets. And as far as the rail covers, I will say the last rail cover, the Rhino rail cover, did remind me a lot of the real life Lexus RCF. I'll put a picture up on the screen, sort of what I'm talking about, the way that it looks. I believe I ended up going with that option, but yeah, pretty cool there. Don't think I really went with any like the strut bars or anything like that. I just with a lot of the real life vehicles, just typically don't have those. Obviously, like for a tuner car, it's not a bad thing to have. I mean, it definitely makes it much more of like a race or a tuner car, but going for a real life version like I do, I typically just not into those as much. But definitely some really cool engine options to, show off your vehicle inside the LS car meet or even in your own takeover car meet, just with friends, wherever you want to show it off, make it look interesting. And we also have these titanium box exhausts, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if maybe I'm just forgetting a lot of like box exhausts on other vehicles in GT Online, but typically don't see those at least on a lot of other vehicles. I should say remember those on other vehicles. Those box exhausts are cool. Not really my style, but I think it's cool. Just something stood out to me. I know the Dominator, Vapid Dominator ASP had some sort of like box exhaust that was a customization option for that vehicle that we saw last week. But definitely, just like I said, just something that stood out to me. Under hood accessories here, we have a GT hood bra, which definitely stood out to me. Don't think it's on a lot of other vehicles, if any. I'm not going to say it's not on any other vehicles, but pretty cool to me. We also have this Vectre hood. Now, I don't know, there might be Vectre hoods on other vehicles in GT Online. I might just thought it was interesting because the vehicle's name is Vectre, but there might be Vectre hoods on other vehicles. Again, there's so many vehicles in GT Online, it's hard to remember every single one, and then obviously not even really just remember every single one, but rather remember like all the customization options that are on that particular vehicle. So, there might be Vectre hoods and other ones. I just thought that was interesting because the vehicle's name is Vectre. Maybe I thought that might have been a special hood to the car, but it may not be. Don't I'm not saying that it is, but yeah. Now for the interior here, I would say there's really nothing unique about it as far as like the other customization options I've seen with like the other tuner vehicles we have so far. I only own 5 at this point. I own all the drip feed ones, including this one, as well as the Jester RR and the Euros, which released day 1. I still have to get the other 8 vehicles that released day 1, but nonetheless, this does, the customization options for the interior seem to be pretty similar between at least the 5 tuner cars that I currently own. I'm assuming probably for the other 8. So really nothing super unique about the interior that at least I was able to pick out. So like I said, just figured I'd mention that here. I will say I do like how a lot of these steering wheels do keep like the Emperor logo or even just like the word Emperor engraved in the steering wheel. Sometimes with some of the steering wheel options it ends up removing like car logos. So I did like that as far as the steering wheels are concerned. Pretty cool there. See these roll cage options just hilarious to me because if this was a 4-seater, it would just be really interesting to see a player get in the back of this car. It just looks really funny to me. It'd be probably pretty uncomfortable riding in the back seat of this vehicle with the roll cage. So pretty funny there. So this vehicle has 10 liveries can be applied to it. Seems like 10 is the number Rockstar likes to have as far as liveries for drip feed vehicles. These liveries really aren't anything super special in my opinion. They seem like just pretty generic, a lot of like stripe liveries. I don't know if like the Katana one referenced something, some of the symbols on the vehicle. I'm not sure if that's like an Easter egg to something. And then the last one, Stance and Andreas, I believe is a like new brand of something that was added with the Los Santos Car Meet DLC from what I was able to find. So I don't know if there's any Easter eggs with like I said the Katana one, but for the most part these liveries I'd say there's nothing super exciting about them. So yeah, that's really all I'll say about the liveries though. I thought it was cool that with the mirrors, with the secondary mirrors and the carbon mirrors, it actually doesn't change the entire color of the mirrors. It actually keeps some of the primary color. A lot of times when you add like secondary mirrors or like carbon mirrors, it changes the mirror entirely. I'm not saying that this customization option is or this like sort of form of a mirror is not on any other vehicles in GT Online, but I thought it was cool with this vehicle. Right here we're looking at the primary color. Now the primary color pretty much covers the entire most of the vehicle, as you can see here, at least the exterior of it. And then the secondary color covers the brakes, as you can see there. And then that's really about it, other than if you add a customization option that's titled secondary. And then we also have the trim color here, which covers a good portion of the interior of the car. Not all of it, but a little bit around the steering wheel, dash, inside the doors here, and then also around the seats and the lining around the seats. So a good portion of the inside of the vehicle, I'd say at least about 75% of the interior of the vehicle. And then we also have the accent color here, which is, around sort of the speedometer there, the dials, and those are all the colors and what they cover on the Emperor Vectre. What also that was cool was that this vehicle has roof wings under roof accessories that you can add to it. And there's also a spoiler option for this vehicle, so you can almost have like two spoilers on the vehicle. You could have the roof wing as well as its spoiler as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting also right there. Also thought it was cool with the skirts, and I don't remember exactly what skirts options they were because they're not titled like skirts secondary or secondary skirts, but the secondary color will actually show up around sort of the like outer area of the skirt, so like almost like a lining on it. And you could do that with I believe the front and rear bumpers have a little bit of that too. So make the car look pretty interesting. A little bit of the secondary colors showing up there. And we also have splitters here, which I think at times splitters are added in with the bumpers. So in this case, we have bumpers and then splitters that are actually separate from the front bumpers, at least in this case. What's cool here is with these spoilers, there's actually a couple wing options, and I believe with my personal Emperor Vector, based mine off a real life one, and the real life one actually had a wing spoiler on it. I'll put a picture up on the screen. It didn't exactly match the ones that you can buy in the mod shop, but I thought it was cool. Typically, you don't see that too often on vehicles, the wing spoiler. So pretty cool there. And then you also notice with the suspension here, we have this competition suspension, which allows you to have your car in this sort of stancing position. There aren't a ton of vehicles in GT Line that allow you to do this. And I will say, I believe this does play into what really is the best aspect as far as the performance of this vehicle is concerned. And we will talk about that in the review. So yeah, this competition suspension is probably something you're going to want to consider for this vehicle. All in all, there's not a ton of vehicles in GT Online that have that competition suspension option, allow the vehicle to be in the stancing position. So it's a cool feature either way. And then lastly, the wheels for this vehicle are unique to the Emperor Vectre, and that is the customization for the Emperor Vectre in full. Alright guys, so here's my personal Emperor Vectre, and I added a lot to this vehicle, so I may not get it all out before I pull out of the my auto shop here. But for primary color, I added metals brushed steel, secondary color metallic Torino red, trim color metallic red, accent color ice white. For other modifications, I added a carbon intake for the engine block. I added a Rhino rail covers for the rail covers. I added twin round exhausts for the exhausts. I added a carbon skid hood for the hood. I added neon layout front, back, sides, as well as red neon color mirrors, carbon mirrors. I added a street spoiler, competition suspension. That's really about it. And with this vehicle here, as always, these vehicles always seem to pick up real quickly, but driving down the straight road here, you can never obviously gauge what it's gonna, rank up to in its, category. In this case, the sports category and the tuners category. One thing this vehicle does, at least from when I was driving, it does appear to have a lot of grip, and that's what you're really gonna see is golden about this vehicle. So as with all the tuner vehicles that I've tested so far, I always like to take them into the test track and specifically utilize a time trial, just get an idea of the handling of the vehicle. And I would say the first thing I noticed with the Emperor Vectre is it handled the turns very nicely in the time trial. In fact, I ended up even beating my personal best for, I don't have all the tuner vehicles, but I do have the Jester RR, the Euros, the Comet S2, some of like the top competitors for the tuners class, and it beat the personal best for all of those in the time trial. Which made me wonder, how well performing is this vehicle? I decided to check out Bruffy1322 because he's a very well-known car tester in the GT Online community, and I'll link his videos at the end of this one. I highly recommend that you check them out. But he ranked this vehicle #1 as far as lap time is concerned in the tuners class, and I believe like top 10 or maybe like 12th or 13th place for the sports class. So it's not necessarily the best in the sports class. It's not horrible, but for the tuners class, it does have the best lap time. Now, on the other hand, with the top speed, unfortunately, it is one of the worst for the tuners class, as well as even just horrible in the sports class. It's not even close to being average in that class either. So the trade-off with this vehicle is that you do have awesome lap time for the tuners class. It's pretty good for the sports class as well, but the top speed is horrible. So this vehicle is not necessarily something to completely write off for races. As far as like the tuners class, I don't know, if it's going to necessarily beat something like the Jester RR or the Comet S2. But if you're able to utilize that lap time, which this vehicle dominates at, and utilizing your turns, with the grip of this vehicle, I think the competence of suspension sort of plays into that, with being able to take those turns very nicely because the suspension is so low to the ground. That can give you an advantage, but I'm not necessarily going to say it's going to dominate, but it does give you an advantage with this vehicle nonetheless. And for that fit, I even decided to take the Emperor Vectre into a race, and I actually got beat by another player using the Emperor Vectre. So all in all, again, I'm not saying this vehicle is necessarily going to dominate in the tuners class, definitely not in the sports class, but the fact that it has that, dominates in lap time, I think at least allows this vehicle to keep up with the other tuner vehicles in the sense that, this may be a vehicle you consider for some races. It's not a vehicle that you can just say, yeah, it's probably not going to do any good at all. That lap time does give it at least a, nice aspect to be able to keep up with the other tuner vehicles. In any case, guys, that's pretty much everything I have to present to you in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it extremely beneficial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it. As always, have a great day.